everybody, happy Friday. This is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. So this is our weekly live stream, which every week we don't have anything planned. We just talk about whatever we talk about. But check this out really quick. Before we get started, I happened to look at it. We are one subscriber away from 25,000. So don't everybody, like I told my kids this earlier today, it's like we only need 8 more and we have 25,000, and they started unsubscribing, so don't unsubscribe. But I suppose we'll reach the 25,000 mark in this live stream, which is going to be really, really cool. I mean, it's going to be acceptable. It's going to be okay. So anyway, really excited. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let's go back to this. I'll let you know. I'll keep it going. It'll be like, it'll be a little bit like New Year's Eve. Well, let's check in with Times Square and see how things are going down there. So, everybody, how's it going? Azimuth, you were the first one here. Azimuth PH. Hey, how's it going? Technologia. Hey, how's it going? You haven't been on the live stream before, have you? That's cool. Great to see you. Or have you? Sorry if I missed it. First of all, you guys can hear me, okay? Right? Bart Raka. Hey, how's it going? Happy Friday. Oh God, you know what? The weather here is beautiful. I nearly canceled the live stream because it was so nice outside. But and I thought about doing the live stream outside with the iPad, but then you would just see me squinting trying to read everything for the whole time because the glare and everything. Every time I wanted to be like the digital nomad where I work outside, I'm just gonna take my laptop and sit outside and I'm gonna work outside because I'm that free. And then you sit out there, can't see anything on your laptop. It's just, you just have your own reflection. And I know there's all kinds of glare protectors, but none of them have ever worked well for me. Hussein Gokas, how's it going? You make apps too, Technologia, cool, awesome. Tom Francis here, hey, how's it going? Phil J, hey, I made it to another live stream. Usually I catch the replays. Yeah, no, it's much better live, probably, I assume. I always think the replays, if you're watching the replay, it's got to be boring, especially if you can't see the chat. So, Martian Developer, hey, how's it going? Smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, you could be the 25,000th subscriber if you haven't subscribed yet. That's what? There's no prize. I'm just saying. Yeah. Pretty. Can you please talk about publishing an app on Google Play alternatives? Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about Google Play alternatives today because there's the ones that I've used. I got an email this week from Gianluca Susanna. Gianluca, I remember the name. Gianluca sent me one saying, hey, you got removed from Google Play, but Huawei is doing really well for him. I'm like, you know what? I set up a Huawei account. I have not published anything there. And since I'm, neutered by Google, I guess I should be doing that. By the way, as an update to Ear Agent, I know sometimes in the comments people say give an update. Last appeal I did a third appeal over a week ago. No response. I think now they're just going to start ignoring me, which is, they're just ignoring anything that I send through. Hopefully because they're considering it, but hopefully it won't do that. Apavelli, happy coding. Hey, Apavelli, how are you? Juan FCO Romero, hey, how's it going? Billy, what's good? Everything's good. Hey, Juan from Barcelona. Awesome. Rodrigo, he's from Portugal. I don't know why I brought that up. Let's see. Learn Java and Android development says, can you give me the best Android app store in China? So at the moment, for me, it was, I guess, for me, I was using, God, I can't remember what, I am completely blanking. I used China Mobile initially. It seems to be very much separated. What I'm hoping was with the Huawei, that will, Huawei will become the one to go to. There's just so many different app stores out there. And it's been a while since I published anything in the Chinese App Store. So if anybody else knows anything, I've done, God, what was it? We've done the Samsung Mobile Store. We got a lot of downloads from China. We got a lot of downloads from China from the Apple App Store. Even though we haven't done all those whatever it says you have to do, especially for games, you have to do those fill in those contracts and everything. And then we've done. Was it Huopiao 325? That's not it. But I know there's like Tencent and Baidu and all those, and Huawei is one that I really you know, you know what? I have no excuse for not having done Huawei yet. I feel like, you know, but now that my big app has been removed, I need to get to that. Kenardo Smith from Jamaica, no problem, no problem. Hey, Kenardo. Bart Raka says, hey, Eric, what would you consider a good game conversion on iOS be? Views to actual downloads. I would imagine, oh, hang on a second. 25,001. Let's just go to this real quick. Sorry to, it's completely unrelated to anything. 25,000. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, don't everybody unsubscribe. Don't like kill my buzz. Which I know you. So, but you can if you want. It just but I still made it 25,000. Even if everybody unsubscribes tomorrow, I made it 25,000. Sorry, Bart. Let's go back to what you were saying there, which was where'd it go? So yeah, Bart, what you said, what we consider to be a good game conversion to be? For me, it was. See, when it comes to games, I didn't really have that good a conversion rate. I can show you what my conversion rate is for EarSpy, and like right now on iOS, I only have like half a dozen apps on there. But I can show you. I'll show you mine because I don't think there's any. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. I don't think there's any rules against me showing this. Not like it with AdMob. So I'll bring up my App Store account here in a second, and I just want to hide a few client applications. Not because they're secret. It's just because I don't particularly like to show clients work without their permission, and I do. Yeah, it's not like because they're embarrassed by me. I hope not. But or I'm embarrassed by them. It's mainly because I haven't asked permission. And I always think if I start saying, oh, this is our big client, this is our big client, this is our big client, I'll have other clients saying, how come you never talk about me? So I just we don't, like on our website, we don't have our clients page or anything like that. It's just always, because I kind of fear that people will come and steal my clients away, for one. And also, it's just sort of self-indulgent. So let me go to screen share. This is my iOS screen, so it's under App Analytics where we see this information. It's kind of weird because App Analytics and Sales and Trends, it seems like they kind of should be similar, but it's gonna take ages. So here we can see my impressions. So jeez, so I've got really low conversion. I got 3% conversion on EarSpy Super Hearing. For Swahili Bubble Bath, I've got 21%, but I don't have a whole lot of impressions. I think it's this one I think shows up a lot more in search, or it's a lot more, you know, people are looking for. It's a lot more broad. This is much more specific. This is much more specific. So here you can see if they find Virtual George, then 20 over 2,000 impressions at 40. Sorry, this is up 43%. So this isn't the percentage. This is the. I don't have to do the math myself. So this is about what it's like. It's actually not that great. It's not that great, Bart, to be honest with you. But it's just it is what it is. So and some of these are doing, like, it's more the impressions. These are the bits that I need to get up, and they're very specific. They're very specific audiences for these, like Korean bubble bath and stuff like that. It's people learning Korean, as opposed to something that was more mainstream. So, but for what it's worth, Bart, that's what mine looks like. And what would I consider a good conversion rate to be? I don't know, because just getting in the search or getting in the impressions, if you get somebody to your landing page or the actual app page, then you have to think about what's not, why are they not actually making that last one. So, I mean, what do the rest of you guys think? Like Tom Francis says, with the replay, you can still see the chat exactly how it was during the live stream. I noticed sometimes you can and sometimes you can't, Tom. So that's why I know I've seen it before where I couldn't see it. But like on a mobile, I don't know if you can. DefPotec Studio says, hello, I found your videos recently. They helped me a lot. Thanks. Hey, that's really good. I'm glad to hear. Thanks very much, DefPotec. This week I did 2 videos. I was going to do a video tomorrow as well. I don't think I'll get one done. I don't think I'll get one done for tomorrow, but I've done 2 videos this week. And one of them was about one of the videos I did this week was about translating your apps, when you should translate your apps, and the other one was about just being assertive. Like, that's one of my big problems, is not being assertive enough. So that was one of them was more technical than the other. So I'm trying to balance it, about both of those. D apps. Oh, Chord Funk. Hello, hey, how's it going? Yo, Chord Funk, how's it going? D apps. Darwal. I forgot. Hey, Eric. Do you think you could? What do you think about app review exchange sites? The real reviews, of course, to help the app. So there was I used one like in the early days, and it was a guy. I can't remember the guy who did it was named Tyler. I can't remember what the name of the site was, and I don't know if it's still around. But I think they start cracking down on those because they all say they're legitimate, they're real people. You review their app, they review your app, and I suppose that is legitimate. But I've never really done it. Like, to me, it seems like it was a lot of work. So this is the kind of thing. I was in a mastermind group, and I was talking to all these other developers. They were talking about how they used it, and they were like just trying to talk about what kind of factory system they had, the other developers, and it just seemed kind of sleazy to me. It was like, so I just get my VA. That's what my VA does every day. Goes in there, reviews all these other apps. They review my app, and that's how I just get this VA to do it, manually and everything like that. And it just seemed like, it seems inauthentic. But then again, I mean, what you need the reviews. You need people going in, people downloading the app. So, like, if it was, why do I think it's inauthentic? Because if I was on the street, like, if I ran into one of you guys on the street and you said, hey, can you do me a favor? Just download my app. Tell me what you think. Leave a review. And you said, yeah, sure. If you do it for me too. And I said, yeah, sure. That's fine. I have no problem with that. For some reason, it was just the web, like the service. It sounded dodgy to me, but now when I talk through it like in a real world physical sense, maybe it's not that bad. What do the rest of you guys think? Because as long as there's nothing monetary involved and everything like that, you're not paying somebody, and they're totally open to, like, even if you hate it, leave a 1-star review, right? Like, you're not telling them what to write, everything like that. I suppose that should be okay, but when it gets to the terms and conditions and the rules, that's the bit where I think, even if, like, it's a gray area now, what if they change the terms and conditions and it becomes not a gray area and you don't get, and then you get penalized or something. Ionel Apote, I hope I got that right, said, how can you get your first 1,000 downloads? Marketing is so hard. It is hard, but let's have a look at your app. Because there's different ways of being found. There's, are people searching for it? Is the market too crowded? How can you get it in front of people? If you were to show it to, even if you did have an ad revenue, like you were able to put ads in front of people, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to download it. This is why when we look at the the user acquisition report, like you're getting all the, like I was just showing you, I was getting the impressions, but I wasn't getting the downloads. It's embarrassing, because that means even, like, I got them to the front door. And for whatever reason, they decided not to download. So even if I had advertisements, that wasn't going to help me any, because I got through the front door and they didn't walk through. And that's exactly what an advertisement does. It puts it in front of the people that you need to put it in front of. So if we look at that and think about the target market, how do you reach out to them? And marketing is hard. It is very crowded market, but if you know specifically who you're going for, it's easier. I mean, it should be easier, because then you think, okay, who is my target? So, and it depends. Like, if you have a game and you have a very broad target audience, like everybody's gonna like my game, then that's gonna be a little bit more difficult. But if you say my target audience is mothers with children who want to learn something, whatever, like the language learning games is the one I think, then I kind of have an idea. Then the next question would be, where would those people hang out? What would those people be? What else would those people be interested in? What else? How could I reach out to that specific group of people? And you could possibly do advertisements, not through Facebook, not through AdMob, but maybe some other ways. And but it all starts with the target user. It all starts with, who is that person? And if you have a game and it's similar, like people who like this game would really like this game, right? If I'm if I wrote a book about lawyers, then I might say, you know what, fans of John Grisham would really like my book. How do I reach out to them? John Grisham fan clubs, whatever groups or whatever. But it's all about identifying those. And if that, I mean, I know that's a bit wishy-washy. It's difficult to give a it's difficult to give an example. So Julio Cruz, Eric, you're right. Google Play is taking longer to approve than the App Store for me. You know what? It's because, Julio, because they're taking so long to approve the app. Last time I did it, now they're taking so long to get back to me on my third. Well, I guess it's my second appeal on my app being removed. I still have hope because they took so long on the approval. I'm kind of hoping that maybe they're just being more deliberate this time, or maybe they're just ignoring me. But they wouldn't be ignoring you if you have an app approval. But the last time it took it took 4 or 5 days to approve a client application, and it came back with a rejection, and it had all to do with the privacy policy. In fact, and I know I'm going off on tangents here, but we have a deadline in a few weeks. We have a deadline in 1 week, just over a week, we have to go through and put the target age group on our Google Play apps, right? So I want to do that, but the last client I did who did that, they set the target age, and then the app was removed immediately because, or no, it was an approval, so it was rejected, the submission by Google Play, because their privacy policy didn't cater for children or all the other things, and they were like, what do we do? We have to get this live now, because it was like really urgent. And I was like, fix your privacy policy. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not it's a privacy policy thing. There's a free privacy policy generator, but it was like a client of their client, kind of like I was so far down the line that I had no control. I couldn't just say, I'll just put up a privacy policy for you, which I've done before for clients. So, but because they had their app they're rejected, they had to go through and set the target age as 18 plus. And of course, when you go in there, it says 18 plus only, and it's a very cartoony game that they did, and it looks like it's 18 plus. Like, it's not porn, but it was mainly because of the privacy policy thing. And this is what stopped me so far from going through and putting the target things in there, because I have to think, are they gonna remove it because of privacy policies out of whack or whatever? But hopefully everything will turn out okay. I mean, has anybody else set all those? Anyway, that's off on a tangent. Sammy, Sims and Med Imaging. Cool. Sims and Med, is that medical imaging? That sounds really cool. Every time there's a demo for new technology, if it's I remember seeing a demo for Silverlight back in the day, and I like to show the human heart and how doctors could use Silverlight for that kind of stuff, when really it was for games and stuff. But that sounds really cool. So Sammy says, can you comment on emotional resilience for app developers and solopreneurs? Good question. You know what, Sammy? And I know your name's not Sammy, but it's difficult sometimes. The book I'm reading. I started reading today is The Chimp Paradox, and your chimp brain and your whatever. But we all have that. We all have those down moments. I'm sitting in this office going, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Right? And I think just as business owners, as people who are trying to do something that's different than everybody else is going to do it, we have days where we're like, dude, man, this is working. This is the best job ever. I love doing this. I'm meeting with all these clients. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm the center of attention. Where we've got our apps are doing well. I don't have to go to work if I don't want to. And then there's other days where everything's falling apart. I've got everyone's pulling on me. This, or my app's out there and nobody's downloading it. And I spent so much time on it. Not only did I spend so much time on it, I told everybody about it. And every time I see them, they're going, so how's that app going? How's that app coming along? And I have to say, yeah, I'm working on marketing it, whatever. And then they give me their opinion, which could be welcome, their opinion, but sometimes it's just not. You're like, you know what, you should try to take out some ads. You're like, yeah, I haven't thought of that. Or people who are not app developers like to say stuff like, why don't you just give it away for free for 2 days and then block it off and stuff like that. I was like, well, kind of, it's not really how the market works. That's not really what I want to do. And we could do subscription based, but they should still have something there. Otherwise, they uninstall it immediately, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of just being like, because you're by yourself, Sammy. Like there's times where there's nobody to turn to. Everybody's looking to you. And I was met with some friends this week where they're business owners. So we were like part of a coaching group together, and we sometimes we meet together, and we all talk about the same kind of thing. Like somebody's up and somebody's down. Somebody's like, I'm kind of getting tired of this business. I think, I'm thinking about doing something else. I'm thinking about just moving on. I'm thinking about this. And we all have those ups and downs. And it's the thing that's weird about it is because you're on your own. There's nobody to turn to. It's nobody else's fault. It's down to you. Well, it could be, it could be Google's fault. It could be Apple's fault. It could be whatever. But you're just, there's no getting off the. I mean, it could be difficult. I mean, sometimes, and you do have to be resilient. And I spent a lot of time just trying to. I come in early in the morning and I try to just psych myself. Sometimes I just try to psych myself up. Like I come in. It was one day this week. What was it? I think it was Tuesday morning where I came in and I was just in a grumpy mood. I was just like, that's when I started noticing everything. Hey, how come we didn't? How come the Instagram is like this? How come this is like this? How come this is like this? Oh, all these emails, everything's in, and then you're just in a grumpy mood and you just have to like snap out of it. And a lot of times it's like I'll get in a grumpy mood if I have a meeting coming up and I think that things aren't going well on a project and I know I have to meet with a client. I'll start playing the conversation I'm going to have in my head, and then I just start getting all worked up about it. I'm like driving, right, just all totally in my head. I wish I could say it all looked easy. And one of the things that I don't want, like when I do the YouTube videos, when I was standing out there in front of the Mustang and talking about how much money I'm making from apps and everything like that, there are still days where you're like, dude, man, I'm just. But if it was, I mean, there's always a job to go to. There's always, I still gonna try to keep myself marketable, at least some. Although it's been a while since I've looked for a job. Hopefully, I'm still marketable. But you could always take on a job, right? If But we chose, for those of you guys out there who were doing your own apps and doing your own thing and working for yourselves, we chose to do this. We chose to do something that they didn't teach us how to do in school. We chose to do something that's a bit more risky. We chose to do something that a lot of people just don't understand. Even just being a contractor, I remember talking to permanent employees who just didn't get it. They said, oh, I don't know, it sounds a bit risky. I would do that, but I got a mortgage and I got kids and I've got this. And I'm like, dude, I have a mortgage. I have kids. I'm doing all that stuff. But it's, you're at the cockpit. You're flying the plane. You're making sure that you don't crash into the mountains. And sometimes you come really close. Sorry, I've gone too far on that, Sammy. But Technologia says, how can we increase the conversion rate with organic searches from Play Store? Cool. So I mean, I think 15 is very low than other. So if you're getting the search results, so we have to look about the ABC. So we got or the different stages. First, are they finding it? Are they getting to your impression page? So is it showing up in search? I mean, are your keywords right? And if it is showing up in search, are they clicking through to it to see the actual page view on the user acquisition report? Because if they're not even clicking through, but they are showing up in search, then, and that's kind of, I don't think you could see whether or not they're showing up in search, but you could do like the keyword searches and just do it that way. If they are doing that, but you're not actually getting the page views on the page, then you have to look at your keywords and you have to look at if they're not showing up in search, then your keywords in the title, you need to think about what are people searching on, how can people search it. Number two would be if they are showing up in search but people aren't clicking on it, then you have to look at your icon and how does it compare to the other icons and how can you increase the attractiveness of your icon? How could it stand out more? How could it be more enticing? And if it's like way down the list, that could also be an issue. Like it's showing up in search but like it's number 25, then that could be something too. So how can you increase that? if they are clicking on the page views and they're not actually downloading the application, then it's the descriptions and the screenshots and possibly the video. Like, why aren't they, they obviously were interested enough to, click on that, on your item and go into your page, and for whatever reason they decided no, right? And like I said, my conversion rate on Ear Agent, if it ever comes back, was like 23%. Other apps I had were like lower. So, and that's the one I thought, that's the one I have the most control of, because that's, people are coming in there, either they're finding it and it wasn't what they were looking for, which was the case a lot of time. People were looking for, they wanted to spy on chat messages and stuff like that, which is not what it was. So that would be, so they weren't going to download anyway. And then, but why weren't they actually making that decision? Like, we had the video, we had everything else, but why weren't they actually pulling the trigger on that? So, but technological, well, you can have a look at your app if you want. Biswajit, how's it going? I know I'm way behind on these questions. Rohit Goswami, hey Eric, what is the best practice to localize for different countries? Should it be done before launching the app in any country so that everyone all over the world can download it at the same time? It would be, that was a video I did earlier this week where I said I think it's best to focus on one language, and then, because you're gonna have to change things, you're gonna have to tweak things. Like when I get mine. So when I got my apps translated, I did a video about this. I didn't go through the translation service like in Google Play. I didn't go to any of these other ones. Any professional translation service. I went on Upwork, and I was like, I don't want to use Google Translate, but I just want anyone to do it. I don't care if they're, I just want someone who's a native speaker, right? I think if it was like, I want it to look like it was done by somebody who was of the language of the person doing it, even if their language skills weren't flowery or whatever, right? So, and I was like, I'll pay $5 per language. So what I did was I went through and I set up like a Google Translate. I'm gonna see if I can find this one just so I can show you guys what it looked like. So, well, I'm just gonna type here while I talk. So I just took all the descriptions, all the strings from the app, and the strings from the screenshots, and I put them in a Google Drive document or a Google spreadsheet, so I could just share that. So let me go with bubble bath translations, localization template. Let's see if this works. No, it wasn't this one. But I mean, let me just share my screen real quick. This is kind of similar to what I did. So I just basically took it, put it into a Google Sheet so I could go through and create. I could just share this with as many people as I want. So you can hear at the bottom the in-app strings. So we have level 1, level 2, level 3, and then I have it in English. I have the translation, which I could use Google Translate to do. But you could use Google Translate in Google. Like if you just want to use Google Translate, it's easy. It's just Google Translate, and then we'll say like the from language. I think it's from language to language. Actually, wait. Is it Google Translate? And then you got source language, target language. So text, so it would be like B2. Source language would be EN. Target language, say ES, and then just translate it, and then just drag that down and have it go, do all that stuff. You could do it if you want to do Google Translate. And then I did like a sheet here for app specific. So this is the one this is the translation game. So, and then I have the vocabulary, the categories, which was part of it, and then I had the App Store strings, which was just like the things I wanted to put in there. And this was an update, so it doesn't have all of them in there. But that's basically what I did. I went on Upwork and did it. Now it took like at least a week. So this is one of the things where I talked about in the video this week, where it kind of handcuffs you, because any change I want to make, like I might, like people say, why do you have a button there that says this? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's a good idea, but like I don't want to go to the translated and everything, which is another reason why if you have an option between a button with text on it or a button with an icon, like something something without any language, it's better to do non-language. And this is also one of the reasons why personally I don't like to put text in icons. So if you put text in icons, that kind of screws up your whole translation thing if you do that later, right? Because I don't think it's not possible to you have one icon for all the languages. So it's not different icons for each one. Unlike like you can have different descriptions for each language, you have different screenshots for each language, but you cannot have different icons for each language. So that's why. Excuse me. Geo Shifter says, make a flat Earth game. Oh no, flat Earthers arrived. Oh my God, ban is best solution. So so I know some flat Earthers, right? And I was one of those things where I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to. How would you do a flat Earth game? Because you'd have to take a side of the issue, right? And it would be, so I wouldn't do that. So, and I don't know how it would work. Let's see, and it seems like a lot of, like, for a while it seemed like there were a lot of Trump stuff coming, like Trump games or anti-Trump apps and stuff like that. And to me it just seemed like such an easy target type of thing, right? Like, so, and it was, and it was just the app stores were overflooded with them. God, I'm rambling. What did I mean by that? Bart Racka says mine are hovering around 33%. Downloads are low though. Okay. Djalma, sorry about that, D-apps. Djalma. Technologia says review exchanges are really helpful for me. It worked for me, but I use different account for reviewing them. Okay. Let's see. Pretty says, Eric, can you please tell me after how many apps getting suspended does Google Dev account get terminated? This is I did a video about this. My understanding, and this is basically from talking to other app developers, is it's 3 suspensions within a 6-month period. I think it's 6 months. There's a certain time period. It could be 6 weeks. But this is another reason why, with Ear Agent being suspended and then Ear Agent Pro being suspended, we have another one called Ear Assist, which is the same thing. And I thought about just putting that live again. But if that got suspended, then it's like I feel like I'm kind of skating on thin ice, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone that way yet either, or I haven't just re-released Ear Assist under a different package name, because I'm like, I'm holding off on that. Steve Barros says, "Hi Eric, I like the review from review sharing forum lead to Google banning my suspending my." Oh, can a review sharing forum lead to Google banning my suspension in my app? I don't know. I've never heard of it happening. In fact, if you look at all the sharing websites, they all say it's completely legitimate, it's completely real. But it's, to me, it always seemed like it was. First of all, so the review sharing websites, the one that I remember using, it was like free to do it. You review something, somebody reviews yours, and then they had like karma points where you could buy points, like you could buy other like reviews, and that seemed like that was crossing the line, and that was the way that they actually made money from this website. So that's one of the things I was always confused about. What is the motive of the people setting up these sites? Is it just completely altruistic, like they're just trying to help the developer community out, or is there some way for them to make money? So. Fist007, hey, how's it going? Martian developer, I'm putting a rate us button in my app, so this helps a lot. Yeah, definitely do that, and do the pop-up nag screen. I know everybody hates that, but you make it easy for your people to do it. If you do not have a rate us button in your application, which leads back to the App Store, and then, well, you should have that somewhere. You should have some way of getting people back to the App Store to rate your application, and then what that means is that you have to wait until you publish your application and then get the URL of the published application, so you include that link in there, although you could figure out what it is because they're all pretty much the same. But so you'd have to do that, but what you want to do is make it as easy as possible for people to leave a review of your app, so that they do, right? You don't want them to go back, just go to the App Store again and search for it again and then leave a review then. You don't want them to have to do that. Fist007 says, I would like to go back to the cost of doing business thing. Oh, the cost of doing business. Like that video? Should we talk about that a bit? Sandeep Bandari. Hey, Sandeep, how's it going? They can see one account is reviewing so many apps in a short span, which is not natural algorithm lives. Very good point. That is why app review exchange websites can be negative mood for the app. Excellent point, Sandeep. Yeah, because you want to, unless you only did one, and who's going to do that? You would get crazed with the thing. You're absolutely right. BizYG, smash the like button. There you go, guys. Sorry, this is Alpha Eric. I forgot we're going to do the Alpha. We're the Alpha Male channel, you know, because I know when you guys see me, you see me as a bit of a jock, a bit of an alpha male. So yeah, we're going to do this. Make sure you smash that like button, bro. Let's see. Fist007 says, I think it should be a lot more effective to do the first meeting through Skype or some video conference thing, and the second meeting to be in person. What do you think about this strategy? I wish I had my iPad in me. So Fist007, most of the time we always do the phone call first. We do the phone call first, and then we do the first meeting. I tried to, lately, just in the last 6 months or so, I'm trying to do most of them on Zoom. Sometimes I'll do the meeting in person. But the nice thing about using Zoom, well, I guess Skype, I mean, they're all the same, but you can record the meeting, right? You could say, I'm recording this meeting. And the nice thing about that is that whatever you discuss, you can share that with the developers. Everybody can look at it. You like, one of the things I do is I go to these meetings, and then I have to come back and write up all the documentation, write up all the notes, make sure everything makes sense. And a lot of times when you're meeting with a client, it's not so much that, like, you don't just go in. Sometimes, well, actually most of the time, you don't go in and they know exactly what they want. They have an idea what they want, and they have lots of other ideas too. And so everything's kind of like floating in the air, and you're saying, okay, how about we do this, this, and this? And then, you know, and then they'll say, yeah, but what about this other thing over here? Like, you know, it would be really great if it was multiplayer, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, it would be cool if it was multiplayer, but that would add a lot to the cost of it. And plus, how would that work in this scenario? And they go, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. And it'd be really cool if we could do this. And then sometimes it gets overcomplicated. Like some users may want to do it this way, and other users may want to do it this way. So we think we should have an option for this and an option for that. And then you're looking at it from a GUI point of view in your head, and you think, I don't like that idea. That's too complicated. It's too the interface is too complicated. Technically, it makes total sense, but like, how do you explain that in a way? Already, we're overthinking this, and a lot of times you go into these meetings and you're just reining everything in. The downside of that, and so you go away and you do your specification. You say, okay, based on everything we discussed, this is what we're going to build, and then you give it to them. And one of the problems that I've had in the past is that sometimes they'll come back and say, but we discussed this other thing that we were going to do. Like, and I'll say, well, that's going to cost extra because that's not part of the specification. And I'll say, but we discussed it before, but it was one of these other things out there that was like, yeah, we discussed it. We discussed everything, right? We said, you know, it's going to be, you know, we discussed, maybe we can use voice activation, maybe we could use machine learning, maybe we could use, you know, the leaderboards and whatever. And then, but eventually you have to, your job as a developer is to just tighten everything down and put it into something that makes sense, right? And you know, how would that look? And as I find myself a lot of the time telling clients, not necessarily telling them no, but just saying, I don't like that. Like, I think that's complicated. That's too confusing, right? If it takes, you know, if it takes 5 sentences to explain how to do something, then that's difficult. Yeah, you know, and that's, oh yeah, but we'll have a help menu and we'll have terms, you know, we'll have like a help section. It's like, yeah, but nobody's gonna look at that, right? You just try to make it as simple as possible, and some things just make sense to me, and some things don't. But so that's one of the so anyway, what I was saying about that is doing an online meeting using something like Zoom where we can record it has made life so much easier, because we do have all of that recorded. And if they say, okay, we did talk about that, then at least, and not from a legal point of view, but just something I could go back and review that. Yeah, we did mention that. That was mentioned at some point. Go back and look at that. So, but yeah, definitely. And again, like I said in the video the other day, a lot of what I think is if I was going to do everything online or everything over the phone, then they might as well have just gone to anywhere in the world to get it. But a lot of times they'll come to me because I'm local, or I'm in the UK, or I'm a short drive, or like a couple hours drive away, and that's something that having that face to face is a big benefit in terms of sales. But yeah, like other times it's like it does add to the cost. But it was fun going into London for that one meeting, even though I don't think it's going to result in anything, that particular one. And I didn't know whether it was going to result in anything when I went, as I started filming in the morning and everything. But it was still fun. It was fun to do. It was fun to do a video with it. INL, is it INL or is it Lonel? Says, I think I'm in an overcrowded market and it was a mistake to make a quiz game. Oh, there's loads of quiz games. But at least I learned a lot. Well, there's loads of quiz games out there, and quiz games could work, but it's the content of the quiz game. And I remember loads of, I remember back when I started out in apps, I had a lot of friends who were doing quiz games, but they were like total copyright, like the Walking Dead quiz, the Glee quiz, they were just like quizzes based on TV shows and movies, and I don't know how they got away with it, especially mostly on iOS. Like a lot of the developers I knew weren't even bothering with Android at the time because they couldn't make any money on Android, and but now it's kind of like, I think it's switched in a lot of ways. DJ QE says, how to get consistent payment from your app. Offering one-time fee to unlock all features is not sustainable. Would yearly fee be a better option? You know what? I've always done managed purchases with a one-time fee, and you're right. There's no recurring revenue there. And I think, and you see so many apps doing the subscription model now. For me, it seems like the annual subscription, like, cause there's a few apps I have where I said, okay, it's going to cost you, like this one, I think it was like $9.99 for the year, and then like next year it's going to like renew, right? So they get they get recurring revenue, but the odds are by the time the year's over, I'm not going to be using that app anymore. I'm going to get that reminder and I'm going to cancel it like immediately after. So, and I think that's what's going to happen a lot. But I think, the whole subscription thing, it seems like it's like, I used to think like nobody would go for that. Like, why? Like if I did a subscription instead, like surely nobody would go for it, but people are. So I mean, because I'm saying, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about it for a year. If it was monthly, then I don't worry about it so much. So Miha says, I wish you luck with the appeal. Yeah, it's kind of stalled. I don't know if anything's going to happen with that or not. Dev Protect Studio says, my latest app is getting 0 organic traffic from Google Play. Do you have any tips for a new game in a crowded market? I don't specifically. I don't have any tips. What could we? Well, I mean, what kind of game is it that you're doing, Dev Protect Studios? Is it something you could just reskin it to something that's more popular? I mean, not necessarily popular. It's popular and not crowded, or because let's have a look at it. But if you put the link in, I don't think the links come through on the YouTube. So if you put it through on just put the app name, and then whether it's Google Play or iOS, we can have a look at it. It's only Horace says, there are so many updates to the Google Play Store. When is the best time to update the Google Play Store? I don't think there's a time, like the time of day. Is that what we're talking about? Harold says, hi Eric, you mentioned you have a person to do illustrations and graphics for your apps. Any insights on how to find someone and payment structure? P.S. Great videos. Love the honesty. Thanks, Harold. This is Harold. I could tell you some stories about designers. My first, the first app that I did were like desktop apps. The first apps I did were desktop apps. So the design wasn't that difficult. I did the ear agent icon myself. I was with an Indian company. I was hired an Indian company, and they said, "Oh, we got designers. Don't worry, we got designers." Right? Their designers were horrible. It was just like, I think the second and third apps they were doing, they come with icons, and it was just derivative, dumb stuff. right? And it was just really, really bad. And then we did one game where the designer with the Indian company came, like, it was like, it's supposed to be, it was called Spy Copter. No, it was called, it was a spy, like, a thing. It was like a game. And my God, it was, I could have done it faster than the developers did, right? I was like, we'll use a tile engine. They didn't use a tile engine. Everything was done by which pixels it was. It took them, like, to do 10 levels, it took them 2 months. And it was, so their designer came back with, it was called Spy Copter Deployment. That's what it was called. I think it was, yeah, I did 2 of them that had similar names. I might be good. So, but she came back with something where she had a helicopter, like a spy, like a copter, like a drone type of thing, and it was like a smiling drone. It had a happy face on it, and it was holding 2 ropes in the sides, and a sign came down, and a wooden sign that said Spy Copter Deployment, right? And it was like it's a spy thing, and it was like, and it had a grass background and everything. It was like totally, like, I could not believe how off it was. It was like totally wrong. So in the end, I finally said, look, I'm not using you guys as designer anymore. So I went out and I went to Upwork and got other designers. I got a designer. We did Agent X. So Agent X, if I show you a screenshot of it, not to promote my own games, I just want to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So, an Agent X, I chose the name Agent X because it was, there's actually others with that name. Okay, I want to share my screen here. I guess Overpass Agent X. So it's an algebra game, and it was kind of the spy thing. So I figured we had a lot of success with the spy stuff. So I really like this. So I hired a cartoonist to do the Agent X images here. So, and it really worked. He really did a fantastic job on it. So but he couldn't do sprites. So I had a cartoonist. His name was Ferdinand, I think, and he did this part of it through Upwork. He did another one called Chemistry Alley. I would have used them before. So we had we did a comic strip type of thing with dialogue and stuff, and like this, we had like a comic book in it. Perfect, loved it. But then we have this one bit where there's a running scene, and I don't know if it's actually in this video. Yeah, here we go. A running scene here where they're like running, and like this, and I thought we'll just use silhouettes. And the first designer I got, I said, can you do animated sprites? Like, he was based in the Philippines, like on a part-time basis. He said, yeah, I can. And he took this thing away, and he took forever. Like, it was like holding up the project, everything, and then like we got it, and the sprite didn't even make any sense. Like, it didn't match. Finally, when I played it, it was like it was missing loads of frames. It was like the guy was limping and everything, and it was just the worst thing ever. And finally, in the end, I paid him anyway because I kind of believe, like, he put the time in, but he was asking me for a good review, and I was like, dude, you know what? You don't ask me to give you a review. You do not want me to give you a review. You said you knew how to do this, and you didn't. And since then, I've had such trouble going and finding a designer. It's not like you could just so. When I found Sandy, who's been working with me since 2014, I think. So there's another guy I hired, Jasanri, and he was. I shouldn't say his name. I shouldn't say his names. He was really talented, not disciplined. Right? It was just really, really hard. He went missing for weeks at a time, and I had clients. So it was like, it was so stressful. But when he did produce stuff, it was great. So in the end, I kept forgiving him. So give me another chance, and I kept forgiving him. And in the end, I was like, I just had to let him go. It was like, I can't rely on you. I can't depend on you. And when Sandy came in, she was really good, but then she also so like over time, we worked together really well. And the amount of times people have said, is it worth having a full-time designer? I was like, it's worth it not having to go out and find another designer. Is it worth it not have to go out and bring somebody in. And that's always been the way that I think. Now, yesterday, she was pregnant, so we knew that we're gonna have to do without her soon. And yesterday she had a baby, so she had she gave birth yesterday. So now we don't have a designer. But yeah, Harold, that's a long story just to say that the problems that I've had, and now so we've got client work that we need design on, and I'm in a position now where I have to go out and find another designer, and I've been spoiled for the last few years because she's been on my team. So so for the payment structure, I always pay by time, just because I think if they're putting the time in, they should do it. I think all of us who do software development, if you pay based on the project, like if somebody pays you based on the project for anything that you do, you're going to end up charging them more for it because you have no idea what they're going to come back with. If they give you some loose requirements and you give them something, go, oh, that's not it at all, I'm not paying for it, right? Or whatever, right? You don't want to be in that situation. So if you do based on time, I think that gives a designer more creativity to slow down, to not have to charge you like a huge lump sum and really pad it out. So you say, okay, and also you don't feel guilty about going back for changes, right? So I think Harold get it, but those are the problems I've had. So I hope I'm not rambling on too much. I'm going to get to the bottom and you're like, dude, man, shut up. You're going to tell me to, let's see, where are we? So that was, sorry, I lost my place. Fiction Studio says, have you connected all your apps with Firebase? No. Some of them I'm still using. Some of them are still using Google Analytics, and they're not using the actual like SDK, which they don't really support mobile anymore. I think they try to move everything to apps, but they're actually just using like HTTP calls to Google Analytics. So I do have a lot of them still on Google Analytics. I just never moved them over. In some ways, I like Google Analytics more. It just feels you could do more reporting. Ron San, hey Eric, where's your British accent, mate? I don't have one. I moved here when I was 25, and I get that all the time. I've lived here for 21 years, and every time I meet somebody new, it's like, they. I did have somebody the other day say I sounded like I just had a slight American accent, but most people think that I've just got here. So it's like I think over the years it has softened, but thanks, Ron. The reason I think I don't. So Ron, to be honest with you, after I've been here a few years, I went on Audible. I got this tape called not tape. It's Audible, so it was a download Audible. Audible. So I got an audiobook on. It's called Access Accents, and it was how to do received pronunciation vocal training. And I thought, if I could pick up a British accent, like I couldn't use it around people I work with because they know, and my kids, I can use it around my family or anything, but like if I go someplace new, I can just sort of try to use that and just sort of blend in a little bit more, so they don't say, so how long you here for, where you from, all that kind of stuff. I just want to blend in, just not be like a foreigner, and it just creeped everybody out. I think there was a guy once when I first moved out here. I had this job in a factory at a dairy, and one of the people I worked with, who was in university, and he was just working through the summer, and he was an actor. He was a British kid. Obviously, he was from here. He was lived in Wantage, and but he kept wanting to practice his American accent on me, and I tell you what, it wasn't flattering. It was very nasally. It was like so, Eric, can I practice my American accent with you? He goes, yeah, hello, right? It was like, I almost thought he was making fun of me, but then I realized he was being honest. Like, and I'm thinking, God, do I sound like that? So and that's another reason I don't want to attempt a British accent, because I think I'll just end up insulting somebody, right? So, there's loads of things. And I lived in Hawaii for 3.5 years, and I can remember, like, as a soldier and then as a civilian, and I can remember other soldiers going out there, and they were only there for like 2 months, and they tried to pretend like they were picking up the Hawaiian accent, even though they never left the base. They'd be like, "Hey, bro. Hey, Holly. Hey, howdy." So I kind of, so I think that kind of makes me shy away from. I'm just gonna talk the way that I talk. If I pick up an accent, I'll pick up an accent, but otherwise I won't. How's that for a long story? It has nothing to do with apps. If you guys can complain if you want. In fact, you can unsubscribe. Let's see if we can get it below. Hey, let's see if we get it below 25,000. I'm gonna say that. Oh my God, we already did. All right, you guys. Is that you guys? Are you guys doing this? So all right, very funny. You guys got me. So we did get it below 2. So we're just going to teeter-totter here for a little bit. That's all right. Okay, so what's the next question? Mega Man, last today. We'll have to watch on the rerun. Oh, see you later, Mega Man. You're probably long gone by now. Leandro Damasceno says, hey, Eric, the Corona community has a table with a translation of several common words by native developers to fill in. Oh, I didn't know that. I went and got it done myself. So I went through and put them all into the spreadsheet and converted them all to Lua tables and everything, so I could load them. Arcadius Shimura says, actually, can you make localized icons? Actually, you can make localized icons in Android. You can create different res folder for each language. Yeah, but I'm talking. Yeah, no, you can. But I'm thinking more on I was thinking more on the Google Play Store. So yeah, you can do the different res on each language. True. Yeah, so you do the different. So you do the drawables for each language. That's right. But I'm thinking more like on the Google Play Store, which is what I was thinking when I said the icon. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You can do it on the actual app itself. Right. But. And correct me if I'm wrong here. You can't do it on the Google Play Store, because if you go through and change the languages, the icon stays the same for each one. God, you guys are really. So we're $9.97 now. You guys. All right. Let's see. BizYG says, make a casual game, Eric. All my games are formal. Appavelli says, what's the future of app development in your opinion? I think it's enterprise apps. I think we are. It's going to go the same way that the web did. It's going to be, there's businesses that need the apps. There's businesses that are starting to realize, hey, all of our employees are walking around with these high-powered computers in their pockets that they're paying for themselves, and all we need to do is give them, a tool to be able to do things with their own stuff. So this is why we're focusing a lot on client work, because I do think we're going to do a lot of enterprise applications that way. A lot of businesses are going to be able to improve their efficiency based on applications, mobile applications. I know web and PWAs. I kind of fit all those in there the same way. I mean, the web, for those of you who remember, the .com boom, where everybody thought, oh, the .com millionaires with pets.com and whatever .com, and people were paying through the nose for domain names, and it just never took off as big as they thought. I mean, it has since, but I see the parallels in app development where, when people come to me for a new app, they're like, they've got dollar signs in their eyes, and they look at the Snapchat was bought for billions and or $1 billion, and they'll see something like that, and they'll think, I have an idea like that, and then there's when people come to me with that kind of idea, say, I've got this app idea, and I think it's going to do really, really well. I'm thinking it could do really well, yes, and you could make a lot of money from it, but it's not, I think be practical about it. Like if you could make a living from it, if you could like a good source of income in, that's what you should be shooting for initially, right? It's well, I mean, I'll shoot for the stars or whatever, but that's the immediate goal, is to get it to actually start paying for itself, and then stuff. But when you do stuff for clients and like for their internal companies, it's easier for a developer because you're talking about objective instead of subjective. You're not thinking about, and it's just a lot easier. So I do think that's the way that it's going to go in the future. Appavelli, my personal opinion. I could be wrong. Let's see. Technical ruler says, hey, Eric, my app is ranking for a keyword even though that keyword does not exist in my metadata or reviews. Should I include that keyword in my title, or does it increase the ranking? If you think people are searching for it, Technical Ruler, yeah, try that. I mean, why would it? So if people, yeah, try it. Try it. See what happens. Yeah, I got loads of that kind of situation. It could be somebody's linking to your app from somewhere else. It could be something that's, yeah, it's weird. That is very strange. It could be like a link that comes from like a backlink from somewhere. Maybe could it be a page that has a link to your app that's doing that, or are people searching for it? Something else, and they try it. See if that works. If it's a good keyword, because that could be, yeah. I mean, I would, you know, if that just dropped into your lap, give it a try. Give it a try for a couple days. Or say a week. Give it a try for a week, if you want to. Abdul Jabbar, hey Eric, how's it going? Oh, sorry, Abdul Jabbar, like Kareem Abdul Jabbar, we established last week. Pretty says, I have nightmares about termination of my email account of my dev account. I have 2 suspended apps. Dude, I have that too. I was like, this is, you know, every time I'd hear stories about somebody's account being terminated, I got scared because it always, the stories were always the same. Dude, I did nothing wrong and Google terminated my account, which may or may not be true, right? I don't know the specifics of it, but you know, that kind of thing. Like, just, it's like hearing, because I used to ride a motorcycle every day, and every time you hear a story about somebody getting killed in a motorcycle accident, part of you wants to be able to say, I hope, you know, maybe it was their fault, maybe they were riding recklessly, but the truth is, you know, anybody, I mean, it could have happened to anybody, right? You know, if you're on a motorcycle, you accept the risk that somebody could plow into the side of you and not see you. But every time you hear something like that, you think, you know, you have that nightmare come through. And that's kind of the way, I don't know if that sounds unsympathetic, but it's kind of the way I looked at the Google. Like, every time somebody would tell me about their Google account being suspended, I would be like, God, you know, I hope that doesn't happen to me, because even though I don't think I've done anything wrong. Let's see. NXNC says, hey Eric, lately I started working on my own app and I finished it some weeks ago. I really want to start working in that area, and eventually I want to start my own business. Any ideas what I should focus on to have a good start? I know you get asked that a lot. So it depends, NXNC, if you want to do your own applications, which could be difficult, or do you want to do client stuff? Do you want to get a job? But even if you do get a job, there's nothing wrong getting a job, because you could build your skills and have somebody pay you for it, but keep the app development going on the side. But yeah, it kind of depends on what your focus is. Let's see. Defpotech Studio says, it's a snake game, but I wanted to do something new with the genre. But there are a ton of snake games. Yeah, if there's tons of snake games, is there anything? I know this sounds simplistic. This is just like, I mean, could you change the snake to something else? Like, like centipede. That's stupid. Something, is it possible to change the snake to something else? Let's see. What was last minute? Okay. Johan for real. Johan for real says, hey Eric, I'm about to add Firebase Analytics to my app for European countries. Do you know what I need to do for GDPR compliant? Is it fine to just mention that I use it in the privacy policy? I think you have to have something specific in there. I think there's, and I can't remember what it is. Let me see if I can find my privacy policy. So I paid for my privacy policy, and to the life of me, I don't know why, like, if somebody were to copy my privacy policy, I don't know, like what would stop them from doing it. Let's just do, hang on. I'm going to show you my screen here in a second. Let me just bring up my privacy policy. So for me, what I've done is I just have one. I don't have a privacy policy for each app. Maybe I should, but I just have like one privacy policy on my website that I just link to all the apps to. And I haven't had any problems with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because it is comprehensive of everything. So here we go. Let me do my screen share here. Oh yeah, and make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you. Hey, we're back at 25,000 again. Jeez, you guys. Oh, all right. I shouldn't have showed you guys that. So here's the mobile apps privacy policy. I think we changed it just on the eve of GDPR last time. We've got definitions, cookies and usage data, location data, tracking and cooking data, usage of data, retention of data, data disclosure policy, GDPR. Advertising ad mod by Google, links to other sites. I thought we did. So basically, what I went through and did: Firebase, Analytics, Google Analytics. We use third-party providers. I don't know if I need to add Firebase Analytics, but yeah, this is the kind of things, and this was added by the. So that includes the link to the Google Analytics privacy policy. And this was added by the generator I did. I paid like $100. Yeah, it was like £100, I think, from some website where I just went through and ticked a bunch of boxes. But if you were to take this, like I said, I would never know. I mean, basically all I did was filled in a form and they took it. I don't think I entered anything separate. And then I think I did like a blanket one for all of our apps. So hopefully that's helpful in some way. Let's see. Def Protect Studio says also Shadow Minimal State Game should be the first result. Okay, let's go with, we're gonna have a look at this. This is the app of Def Protect Studios. Let's share the screen again. Play.google.com. Shadow Minimal State Game. Okay, here we go. So you come a second, actually. So Slink.io, is that the Slither.io is the one I think my kids were playing before. Slink.io, I don't know how that's different. Shadow, the Modern Snake Game. Yeah, it could be. I mean, if it's overcrowded, so if I were to do Snake Game, yeah, I see what you mean. There are loads. It could be. I mean, but if you were to change it to something else, like what could a snake also be? Well, what in a non-pornographic way, what could a snake also be? Could be a rope game. Although you think it would be rope, cut the rope. That's kind of the physics ones. But I mean, it's possible. Maybe you could do something like that. At least it gives it something different. But it is a snake game. Yeah, Def Protect. I'm not sure. Let's see. Johan Ferrul says, "Are there some extra steps? Thanks in advance." Oh, is this for the privacy policy? I think there's a. Actually, let's go back to privacy. Sorry about this. Johan for real. There's like, I remember doing this free privacy policy generator. There is one. I think this is the one I use. But then if you wanted to add GDPR stuff, you had to pay extra. But there's all these privacy policy generators in here where you can go through and just like tick the boxes and stuff. But I think this is the one where to add COPPA. So there's COPPA and all that stuff on there, which you can add. but some of it I think you actually do have to pay for, despite the name. Let's see, Steve Barrow says, Eric, and back again. I thought he said back pain. I was like, read that wrong. Eric, and back again. Please talk about Google terminating ES File Explorer, one of the biggest file managers. I heard a rumor they were clicking their ads without user consent. Is that, there was ES File, there was that one Chinese company, wasn't there, that they got removed for that, for a similar reason, where they had some sort of, God, it was a couple months ago, where they had millions of downloads, and they were removed by Google Play, which just shows that Google Play, they're not messing around. They're not, if they're going to remove stuff. So, but I haven't heard about ES File Explorer. Arcadius Shimura says, let's see, wait, yeah. Arcadius Shimura says, do you remember when I told you about the app for people with phone addiction that gives the usage statistics, etc.? It is live and doing well. It's called Usage Safe by CloudDroid. Check it out. Okay, yeah, we were talking about this, Arcadius, which, where I was saying I wasn't sure how you could do it in terms of, I think I was skeptical because our apps are sandbox. So let me just go through here and share our screen again. I am going to, so we're going to cut the live stream a little bit short today. So after Bart Raka's comment, we're going to usage safe CloudDroid. Here we go. So we'll do that. We'll start cutting things loose. So usage based. So what oh wow, nice. But what are the permissions? What I'm curious about is their permissions. There we go. Showing permissions for all versus the app. That has access to other. Update component usage statistics, receive data from the internet, view network connection, full network access, prevent device from sleeping. Whoa, wow. Okay. I guess it all makes sense though. Like I would always be afraid to ask for all that information. So I guess it is possible. Let's see. Fist 007, try to make some Brit accent just for fun. No, it will be insulting. I won't do it. I won't do it. The fact that you guys know I have an American accent, you would not think, dude, that was really good. That was actually pretty good. I wouldn't hear that ever. BizYG said, uploaded Google Play video of my game in Play Store of my game Dark Space Legends. Trailer coming soon. Awesome. Should we have a look at it? Spybot deployment. I just saw that video. That one sucked. Yeah, Betty. That app, that was my least favorite app. It was like, I hated that app. It was like pulling teeth getting it from the developers. The designers were bad. The code was awful. We released it, and we released it without having any ads, without any monetization in it. And that first day we got like 3,000 downloads for some reason. And then it trailed off immediately after. But it was just kind of like I hate that. I hate that app. John Mollahan, what's up? What's up? Sorry. What's up, John? Oh, I can't do it. Abdul Jabbar says, are you having problems with updating Appledeal SDK? I'm not using Appledeal. I used it one time and it creeped me out. No, it creeped me out just having the Chrome plugin go through all my stuff. Google Play removed my Unity games which use Appledeal, and my Unity developer having a lot of problems updating to new SDK. Using other SDK add SDKs, it does kind of scare me a bit. I mean, so that's one of the reasons why I stuck to AdMob, because I had a few suspensions and I was never quite sure if it was because maybe it was the SDKs that I added, and you never know. Like you're putting somebody else's code into your application, which should be okay. You think if enough people are doing it, it should be fine. But then with Appledeal, you're adding like lots of different SDKs in the application, aren't they? I mean, it's like they're all kind of bundled. So, but no, yeah, that sounds terrible, Abdul Jabbar. Let's see. let's see. Be Smart says, "Hi Eric, is there a famous apps use Firebase database?" I'm sure there are. I mean, there's loads. There's loads that use Google Cloud, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, but I'm not sure. Like, let's see. Good question. Because I assume there must be loads. I mean, but I don't know if you got to a certain point, would you? Because I think doesn't. Yeah, I don't know if that you get to a certain point where you move up from Firebase to like Google Cloud Platform or whatever. But good question. I don't know the answer to that one. Johan for real says, "Thank you very much for the tips." Hey, no problem. Harold says, "Thank you for your comments. Have you thought about pivoting your suspended app, maybe add recording and more business oriented to enterprise oriented?" I've thought about it a little bit, but I just haven't done it. We've been so busy this week with client applications, and I'm hoping the suspension comes through. And if like next week I'm sitting here saying I'm still hoping the suspension comes through, then you guys can all call me sad if you want, because it will be sad. But the week just gets away from you sometimes. It's just so quick. Seems like things go by so fast. Maddie JY2K says, "Noob question here, but how do I find out what users type to find and download my app in the Play Store? I thought it would be under the acquisition reports, but I can't see it in there." I think when it gets to a certain point where you get a lot of downloads. So I know on some of them I have had that. Like on Ear Agent I was able to go through and see it. And I did a report on it where you had the organic search results, which was such a useful bit of information. Because before that, highlights time, nice haircut. Yeah, thanks. Maybe it's a little bit too short. Every time I go in there, I'm all about the value. I don't have to get a haircut again in another couple weeks. So I'll go for it's like today we went to the Pizza Hut buffet, right? So I took my kids out to the because they're only going to be out of school for a few more weeks, and so I thought, let's go to Pizza Hut because it's Pizza Hut buffet at lunchtime, and I'm all about the value, right? So if I go to the buffet, I probably eat more than I should. If I go to get my hair cut, I probably get more cut off than I should. But let's see, have a look. So I'm gonna see if I can find an app that's got quite a few downloads here. So because I can't look at Ear Agent anymore, unfortunately. So I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. For those of you guys who are still with us. Oh, God, it's freezing up now. I might as well share my screen now. I have a few removals. I'm going to go through on Hebrew. Actually, let's go through Learn Japanese Overpass. This one does okay. I want to see if we get in, if we have anything in that report for that. So under user acquisition, and you go to acquisition reports, and then you have the, it's down here where you've got the search. And on some of my apps, I could go through and actually see what the search terms were, but here it doesn't really show them. It just has other. So it says all search terms 561. So yeah, I think you have to have a certain amount of downloads, because I did do a video where I was able to show that either they've changed it or you have to have a certain amount of downloads in order to see that. Let's see. Bart Rocka says, "Eric, could you please look at my app on iOS? 8-ball pool billiards bumper." Cool. All right, so let's have a look at this on iOS. I'm looking at it through the browser because I don't have my iPad with me to hook up to the App Store there. So I'm just going to try to do it through here. Ooh, oh, I like it. It's very colorful. Is it multiplayer? Wait, hang on a second. Pool bumper. Wait a second. Are those? What are these names on there? Is that? Oh, I can't. Say 8-ball pool bumper. Let's have a look at it on. It looks really cool. Let's have a look at an App Annie. On the again, like I say this every week, but I think a lot of people think I have a paid version of App Annie, and I don't. I just have the free version. So the free version is really good when it comes to looking at ASO stuff. I mean, I'm sure if you went with like Sensor Tower stuff, you could see a lot more, but oh, it's on mini clip too. All right, so let's go to the ASO. I just want to see how it's doing there. Because of the name, I like the name. It's got a lot of keywords in it. I want to see how it's doing there with all those keywords. That's why I'm curious, Bart. That's what I'm looking. So bumper pool. Let's go to United States. So 8-ball acquisition break off 8-ball star. Cool. How's it doing, Bart? And it looks really cool. I really like the look of it. I mean, it looks. I mean, the screenshots, like they're not annotated screenshots, but they do look really good. Have you thought about putting a video on there? I mean, I know videos on iOS it's a pain because you have to be less than 30 seconds. I think that there's a certain frame. For a while, I think there was frame rate rules. You have to upload it using Safari rather than you can't use Chrome. But cool. So we'll wrap things up here real quick. Nice haircut. Thank you very much. Atomic 687 says, Eric, do you know if only choosing 18 plus target auditory in Play Store will lower my app visibility? Will it still be visible for people under 18? I need to set it because Google will force it. I imagine they won't show it to people who are under 18 if they know they're under 18. I imagine that's the reason it's there. Yeah, because otherwise, I would imagine they have to enforce it somehow, unless they just have to display it. But I would think that would be the kind of thing that, yeah, I don't know. Good question. I'm not sure. Do they know how old you are? As an adult, it's like, because I've been an adult obviously the whole time we've had Android and iPhone, so I don't really know. And my kids, I don't think when we get them Android phones, I don't think we set up anything that says what age they are. But I don't know when they're setting up their Google accounts whether or not that's the case. Abdul Jabbar says, be smart, have a look at Firebase use cases. Okay, good question. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. Ahmed Taha Belmeki says, hey Eric, what do you think of notes and task apps? Can we have some modest revenue from ads? Can we make a place in the Play Store even if with other note apps? Thanks. Thank you. I did a note app. It was called CanText. It wasn't necessarily a note app, but it was one where we used Parse. We used Parse, and the reason it's not live anymore is because Parse, I never migrated it away from Parse. But it was kind of thing where we had an Android version, so we did it in Corona, actually. We did it in Corona SDK, and we had the Android version and the iOS version, and we didn't have a web version, but we could have. But the hook was that, yeah, you could upgrade it and everything. And I think you could do it. I think you could do a note app if it was unique enough, right? Because but you'd be competing with what, Evernote and Google Keep, and was it Notability and all those other note-taking apps. So if you just go as a note-taking app, I think that'd be very difficult. But if you go very niche with it, I mean, you might be able to. Let's say if you did something like let's say you did a note-taking of the dead, and you had a totally gothic theme to it, like goth theme to it, and everything was like you had a certain thing to it. I don't know if that would work or not, or if it would just be too gimmicky. But like if somebody was really into like it appeals to their individuality as to, you know, Evernote's very much a I'm a businessman kind of thing. But if you did something was like something for a specific group of people, then maybe there's something there. But it's a crowded market. Like check that stuff. So oh wait, where am I? Aiden Max says, hey, it's Aiden, arrived at last. We're just at the end, Aiden. Watching it afterwards too works too, Eric, because you read the question, which you then answer, so it's easy to follow conversation. Yeah, I'm always way behind on the questions. So usually towards the end of the live stream, that's when my my oldest son starts watching, because you know it's pizza night. Although today we went to Pizza Hut for lunch buffet, so it's not pizza night tonight. But yeah, so he'll watch. But his complaint is always, I looked at the questions you were answering, and they were like a half an hour before we actually, before you actually got to them. So I apologize about that. Defpotex Studio says, I had to rebrand my Spy app on Google Play to get it back, but downloads really dropped afterwards. I changed it from the Spy, took Spy out of the name, use Agent, which is kind of the same. But yeah, I think it is. So Defpotex, were you a competitor of mine? Or was it different? Julio says, do you use AdMob mediation? If so, what ad network do you recommend for that? Thanks. I was using it for a while, and I still use it with Facebook Audience Network and AppLovin. AppLovin. I use it with AppLovin. With Facebook, with AdMob mediation, you still have to include the SDKs of the other ad networks, but they do have SDK-less mediation, or they did for a while. And I use Smato and other things, and I didn't see anything come from those. I use MobFox. I think MobFox owed me like £29 for like 2 years, because like I never got over the £30 threshold to get the payment through. And finally in the end I just turned it off because it was just such a dumb thing. So Maddie J says, thanks, Eric. I learned about looking for the search terms in your YouTube video before. Thought it might be because the app was too new. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for your suspensions. Good luck. Thank you very much, Maddie. Or Matt. Yeah, it's Maddie, right? Aiden Max says, I was thinking if you pivot your ear spy to be, for example, ear scope, discover sounds with your phone, find a leaking pipe in the wall, discover insect sounds, just to get your app back. Yeah, that would be really good. Maybe I should appeal it again. So I'm waiting for the appeal to come back. But yeah, maybe if I did that and I just proposed some things, that I want to change the name to this, rather than just say, if you move it, basically what I said was, if you move it from suspended to removed, I will change everything. But maybe I should say, I want to change it to this because it's unfair. I mean, I have got a few emails from people complaining about the fact that they got a new phone and they can't restore it. And I'm like, well, it's Google's fault, right? And we had a conversation about that. Do we refund that? Because it's not our fault that Google removed it. Normally, like if somebody complains about an app, and I'm like, I'm fine to refund it if they paid for it and they're really unhappy with it. But if it's something that, if they're complaining about something that I had no control over, like Google removed it, then we're not going to do that. So BizYG says, I hope your app comes back. Bye, Eric. Working on the next update of my game. Good luck, BizYG. Keep at it, man. Keep at it, dude. Smash that like button, bro. Yeah, keep at it, bro. Myself. Okay, so Defpotech, I don't think so. Night Vision app. Okay, cool. Just asking. Thanks, Defpotech. Ahmed says, thank you, Eric. I have another question. Please, if we get banned from Google AdMob, what alternative do you suggest? Thanks again. I've heard a lot of good things about Facebook Audience Network, and like some people say that Facebook Audience Network does better for them. For me, I didn't find it, but if you can't go back to AdMob, try one of those other ad networks. If you're banned from AdMob and you're still on the Play Store, try some other ad networks, right? At least you can do that. So so that's good. And Fist007 says, bye, pizza time or not. So let's check the tally one last time before we finish this live stream. The subscriptions are back to Judy to $9.99. All right, well, you know what? But it was fun, what? The roller coaster. So anyway, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for joining us on the live stream this week. I do not have a video for tomorrow, so there's not going to be a video tomorrow, but we'll get one up for next Wednesday. And thanks, everybody, for joining the live stream. Thanks for all the advice that you've been given, and talk to you guys again next week. All right, later. out. Peace out. Doesn't quite suit me. See you guys later.